Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever this is. This is Tanks and Tutties, presented by Tubbs and Papa Tubbs this week. So this week, Frankie decided that since Daddy Rodgers went into a darkness retreat, that he'd try it as well. So Austin wanted to see what it was like to trip balls just from no sleep. So he's gone this week, so we brought in Papa Tubbs. We're just it's probably going to be a little shorter episode. We just got a couple segments. We're not even going to really recap what happened last week. So why don't we just start with, how was your weekend, man?
First of all, I'd like to say long-time listener, first-time caller. My weekend was pretty much a 51-year-old weekend. I watched some sports, sat around, did some work, and had a few drinks, and that was pretty much it. How was your weekend?
Good. Hey, mine was great. On Friday, I went to this new place in Lansing. It's called Lansing Shuffle. It's basically a food court, but they've got a bar, and then we just kind of hung out. In the summertime, they're going to have shuffleboards, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Nice.
And then we went over to another place where they had board games. But honestly, I didn't talk about this either. No beer at these places. Like, they had beer, but it's like that fancy shit. And I get it from you where I only like domestics. I can't drink like, oh, we've got a soupy stout and a smelly ale. Like, I can't drink those.
Right. They just put a label on that, so they charge you $8 a bottle.
Right. So I drank long drinks at the first place. Those were great. But then the second place, he was like, oh, yeah, we've got a stout and an ale and a something or another. And I was like, I don't want any of those. So I was doing some vodka sodas and shit like that. But it was basically just a vodka soda with some blueberries. But they were good. I'm not going to talk shit. They were good. And they had, like, board games. So we played Battleship and then Scrabble. And I absolutely waxed her in all of them.
Nice.
Let me take that back. Battleship, actually, was the closest Battleship game I've ever played in my life. It came down to we both had one ship left with one spot, and we both had a 50-50 shot at it, and I hit. So
you won.
I won.
So you waxed her.
Waxed her.
Nice.
And then the second game, Scrabble, I'd never played Scrabble formally in my life. And I blew her out of the water. It wasn't even close. Like,
Nice.
it was, I played Words with Friends back in the day. So, and then Saturday, we hung out with some other friends. We went to a bar. They had karaoke. And I want to shout out this man named Dennis. He sang the first song. Dennis is about 75 years old. He walks about as slow as a snail, but he was a legend. First song, I don't remember the name, but it was great. And then, you're thinking 75-year-old, he's probably leaving. It was like 9 o'clock.
Right.
11:30 out of nowhere, here comes Dennis. He hears his music, and he sang "We Are Young," and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And then we went back to my buddy's spot. I had some Coronas, which was fun. Made me think of summer. I'm ready for that. So, and then Sunday was just kind of recovery. For some reason, I was hungover. I didn't even really drink a lot of beer, but should have been hungover. So, I had Pops put together some Locks and Longshots, so I'm going to start, and then we'll get his. And we're going to start it's going to be like a guest record, because I think we're going to try to get some more people on here in the near future. So we're going to start a guest record. Last week I said Sung Jae was going to win his round 1 3-ball. He won that, so my locks are now up to 26 and 18. Very good record. This week, I'm doing a tournament on Sunday. It's just 3 games, bowling tournament. So my lock is going to be that I average 210 plus. I bowled really bad on Monday. Lost to my father, who's currently here with us. That sucked. You never like to lose to him, especially when he's been sucking ass.
I will agree with that.
Yes. And so I'm gonna take the over on the average of a 210. And then long shots, short and simple. Webb Simpson is hot garbage. He wasn't even close to top 40. He made the cut, but then he finished basically last in the cup or the non-cup players. So obviously not top 40. This week the long shot though, we're gonna stick with the bowling theme because I didn't want to go through and find, some random sport. Golf, obviously I did well on the locks. Maybe I'll get back to that next week. But I'm gonna take over 225 average on Sunday. I need to get it together. I'm gonna try to shoot a 700 series. So we're gonna go ahead and take that and try to get back up here. So what do you got for a lock this week?
All right, so my genre basically is football. I love football. So
Are you gonna hit us with an XFL bet?
I was going to, but I decided against it. So here's what I went with. So my lock on Wednesday night, Gonzaga versus Chicago State. take Gonzaga all the way. I don't care if it's 13, 14 points. Take Gonzaga.
Oh, they don't have lines out yet, do they?
They do not, but
So
here's the
you're
reason.
saying take them.
Right, but I have a method.
I just want everybody to know that my dad was very excited for this, and he has about 4 or 5 pages of notes, which is more than I've ever put together for a single episode.
Again, I'm 51 years old. I got to keep my shit together. So Gonzaga has won 6 in a row. They have averaged over 94 points in the last 6 games. I'm thinking the spread's going to be about 13, 14 points. Chicago State has only averaged 78 points in their last 6. Lock it down.
So
Gonzaga.
I don't think it'll be 13, 14. I think it'll be more.
Well,
But you want whatever it is?
do
you want to go? You want to go up to a certain amount, or just whatever it is?
Nope,
you're taking
whatever
Gonzaga?
it is, I'm taking it. Gonzaga all the way.
All right.
They're too hot right now.
I'll write these down after
Yep,
we're done.
you're going to have to take that. Now, my long shot, Michigan versus Indiana. It's the final game of the season for Michigan and Indiana.
It's like 2 weeks out, isn't it?
No, it's Sunday.
Oh, shit.
It's
okay.
Sunday.
All right.
So Michigan plays Thursday against Illinois. Now, I think Michigan is going to pull this off. So originally I was going to say take the spread, but I think take the money line. Take Michigan on the money line. Michigan's won the last 3. They're playing awesome defense. Dougie is
Dougie Fresh.
put some life in this team, right? And now it opens it up for Bupkin and Dickinson. So, and just a FYI, Howard will probably be back on Sunday. So that is my long shot.
I love that you cannot pronounce Buffkin.
Buffkin.
You
I
said
said it.
You said Bupkin.
Yeah, whatever.
This guy used to say Blumpkin for those who know what that is, and then it was
I like Bumpkin.
Bumpy or something.
No, I didn't
don't
say
know.
Bumpy.
But Michigan is at Indiana on Sunday. They will most likely be underdogs. So Papa Tubbs wants the money line, and we're going to take the money line. We ride with Papa Tubbs.
Absolutely.
Reminder, you correctly basically predicted the Lions season. You said they would you said 11 wins, and they finished with 9.
Yep.
What was your other one?
That Michigan would win the Big Ten championship.
Yep, and then, So he's hit some long shots in his day. I wish I would have bet him. The Michigan Big Ten championship is the one that I wish I would have taken because they were
that would have been good money right
plus
there.
500 or something when you said it.
Good money.
I just want to say, before we get into this isn't going to be a tipple episode. We're not even recapping what happened last week. We're just strictly doing some top 5s. I've got a who's who we're going to hit here for. Papa Tubbs is going to try to guess it. And then, I don't know. We'll see where we're at on time, and maybe we'll just talk about some random stuff. Maybe we'll have a life advice section. Who knows? It's going to be a crazy episode. I'm going to go ahead and apologize if the volume is low. It shouldn't get high unless we hit on roulette. We're kind of sharing a mic. It's weird. So, but just when we get to roulette, maybe turn down your radio, your headphones, whatever you're listening on, in case we do hit. So let's get right into this who's who. So you're looking at it right now. We're going to take this slow so I can explain it. Right now we're looking at, it's NFL. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
We're looking at, all he can see right now is the year. He sees he played for 11 years, from 1991 to 2002. Those asterisks, I should have wrote down what those were, but that's probably like All-Pro or Pro Bowl.
Okay.
I don't even know if they had that back in the day, but I tried to go something older. This is pretty easy, and I think you should get it no problem.
Okay.
But we'll see.
What am I looking at? A picture or?
This is just, it's going to be career stats.
I got
But
you.
I blocked off the stats and the teams.
Okay.
So, I'm going to have you throw out a guess here, and then I'm going to have you look away so I can back this up, but I don't want you to see too much. So after your guess, when I tell you you're wrong, because there's no chance. If you get this, I'll be pissed. But
okay.
I'll have you look away, I'll back it up, and then we'll just go category by category. Should be fairly simple.
So we played for 11 years.
Yep. And it's an offensive player. We'll start there, too. Give you a little hint.
Sure. 91 to 2002. I'm going to say Brett Perriman?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know who that is.
All right.
So, moving on. All right, so look away for a second.
Sure.
All right. Don't look yet. Right now it's just the age column, so I'm going to skip that because that doesn't really help. Ooh, but this gives it away. Let's see if I can come from this side. All right, yeah, we'll do this. So, what position was that player you just guessed, by the way?
Wide receiver.
Okay. So, all right, go ahead and look. It is a wide receiver. These are the age. That doesn't help you, obviously, but you can see his long. You can see his yards per game and his catch percentage and yards per target, but that doesn't help you much.
Okay, so...
And then I'm going to bump it back to yards and touchdowns, and if you don't get it there, then I'll show you the teams, and you should have it in an instant.
Okay, so that's the age he played.
Yep, those are his ages.
And he played till he was 33.
Yep, common for a receiver.
Sure.
Unless you're Kelvin Johnson and you hate
retire
the city
early.
of Detroit.
Yeah, he retire early. Boy. And I don't know the team, obviously, right?
Yep.
So knowing you, it's probably a Lions receiver would be my guess. I'm going to go with Johnny Morton.
No.
Damn.
Don't even know who that is as well. Yep, look away for a second. So, there we go. All right, so you got yards and touchdowns now. And obviously these don't even really help you much. But after this, we'll show you the team.
95, he had 14 touchdowns.
Yep, big year. 1,600 yards in 95 as well.
Man, I got to go
94 to 97, he was really good. 1,100 yards, 1,600 yards, 1,200, 12, and 1,290, so basically 1,300. And he had double-digit touchdowns in 94, 95.
Okay, so 94 to 96 were, 97 was a good year.
97
too.
was good, yep. 98 even, he had 980 and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, 5 touchdowns is mediocre for a wide receiver.
Yeah, but he almost had 1,000 yards. That's impressive.
It is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I'm trying to think now. I'm gonna go with oh boy.
He is thinking so hard about this.
It's
Just
tough.
throw something out because you're going to get it here when I show you the teams. I don't think you'll get it here.
I'm gonna go. Oh man, I don't. I'm just trying to think, man.
You can also say skip.
I gotta
But-
skip because
okay.
I
All
want
right.
to.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. There's your teams.
Oh jeez.
Could we have our first ever not get it? I'm surprised you're not throwing a name out right now.
His last year was with the Giants. He didn't.
Yeah, but look,
even
he didn't record a
play.
stat. He might have played, but he didn't record a stat.
Oh my
Here, I'm going to
God.
show you the career numbers too, just because it doesn't matter. Click down here. Here we
Yeah,
go.
that doesn't.
Doesn't help much. Nope.
No. Boy, I'm trying to think that far back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we might have our first ever can't get it.
This is tough. This is really, really tough.
I feel like you should just be throwing out.
I'm gonna probably kick myself when I see who it is too.
I think so. I don't think his name is on here. I think I cropped it so he didn't have a name.
No,
so.
it's okay. So Johnny Martin and
He's got his eyes closed, rubbing his forehead,
because
squinting.
There's a receiver that that I have in my head and I can see his face, but I cannot.
Do you
for
know?
the life of me,
Can you think of the number?
I want to say 87, 88.
I think that's right. I'm gonna Google it.
I
You
believe.
just keep thinking.
Oh man, this is tough. It's not really tough. It bugs me that I can't think of the receiver. I can see him. He was
Oh, okay. So he wasn't any of those numbers.
okay. Well, that's all right.
All right.
Maybe
we're
Johnny
gonna
Martin
do-
was 87.
We're gonna do a shot clock. 30 seconds. You have to throw out a guess.
I got nothing. I can't think of his name.
You want to give up, or do you want to see some more stats?
No,
Maybe.
let it go. I know it's gonna.
Okay. So those are the rest of your stats. Obviously, it doesn't help.
Oh
Number
my
84.
God. It's the guy I'm thinking of. I can't even think of his name.
Dude, come on. This is insane.
Oh, it's stupid.
All right,
Oh,
you've got-
I'm embarrassed.
I'm giving you 30 seconds.
You can't give me that long. Just go ahead.
Herman
Moore. God dang it.
Wow.
When you had it blocked right there, that's who I was saying. I didn't actually, to be honest with you, I didn't know he went to the Giants.
Well, he played one game and had 3 targets.
Yeah,
so
I just
not
didn't,
memorable.
No, I just didn't remember him ever going to the
Wow.
Giants. I cannot believe
We
lost
had our
out on
first
Herman Moore.
ever. No guess.
That sucks. I'm terrible. I'll never be on this show again.
All right, so I'm trying to think if was there anything like crazy last week that needs to be mentioned with Michigan sports? I don't give a shit about Wisconsin sports.
Well, I mean, Michigan won.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. So Sunday, Michigan's playing Wisconsin. I'm thinking this is maybe why Austin scheduled his trip for this weekend, because he knew they were playing and he was scared.
It's possible.
But it was pretty much Michigan had control most of the game, and then late Wisconsin took over and they took the lead, and Michigan was down 3 with they had 2.8 to try to tie it.
It was 2.8 seconds when they got the pass in to Buffkin.
Nope.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and then
it was Buffkin because it got blocked. It got blocked out of bounds.
Oh yeah. Okay. You're going back too far.
Yeah.
I want to focus on Hunter Big Dick Dickinson. Pulls up 2.8 seconds, has the presence of mind to get a dribble down and then pull up and just absolutely nothing but net, puts it in to send it to OT, and then it was all Michigan from there. And Frankie was just in my phone blowing it up. I hate Dickinson. He's a bitch. And then he's finding videos on Twitter of him maybe stepping on somebody on accident, and he's a scumbag.
Never saw it.
Frankie forgets that Brad Davidson played at Wisconsin for 72 years.
Right.
And was just the biggest scumbag of all. Dickinson's a guy that you hate him if he's not on your team, you love him if he is.
Okay,
That's
but
bottom line.
Did he also complain and cry that Chucky went into the locker room?
To his credit, he didn't say a word about, if Chucky played, we would have won.
Oh, okay.
Not a word.
Right.
So he also didn't watch.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's the case, because he's down in Memphis doing his Darkness Retreat.
Yep.
But
well, I will say this, that when overtime started, we fouled Michigan fouled Wisconsin. They got the 2 free throws right away. And then Michigan went on a 10-0 run, and Wisconsin never scored after that.
That's defense, baby. That's Big Ten defense. So
yes, sir.
Let's get in these top 5s. I'm excited. So we've got 3. Depending on time, we might not do the third. We're definitely doing the first 2. So first up, we decided to do the worst Michigan sports moments in our lives. So I only did what I've witnessed or was actually sad about, pretty much.
As did I.
I think there's one that I didn't really witness, because obviously I was born in 99. Didn't really watch sports till I'd say 2010, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple though that I've seen the videos, so I put them on there. But when I say Michigan sports moments, we said Michigan sports moments to include Michigan, University of Michigan, but also all the Detroit teams. And then, that's about it. So let's get right into it. Your number 5 worst Michigan sports moment.
Okay, so I go first, right?
Yes, go
All
ahead.
Right, good. So my number 5 pick is 2004 Malice at the Palace.
You put that on your worst?
I did, and here's
okay.
the reason why. There's a reason to it. When that happened, that was such a black eye for the Pistons. Not only it was Indiana, but it's just an ugly, ugly incident, right? So in case you guys don't remember, there was only 45 seconds left in the game, and Indiana had it wrapped up. It was 97-82, I believe. And Ben Wallace went up for a layup, and basically Ron Artest come up and slapped him in the back of the head.
Which back then was, it was dirty shit happened back then. People
they
played
did,
hard.
but that was crossing the line. So Ben Wallace got up and pushed him back. So there was a scuffle on the court, and they're separating everybody. Well, then in the meantime, Ron Artest decided to go to the scorer's table and lay down on the scorer's table. And when he did, a fan threw a drink on him, and then all hell broke loose. He went, Ron Artest went into the stands. Steven Jackson went in the stands. People were throwing punches, and drinks were being thrown. It was just an ugly, ugly incident.
Bad look for Detroit.
It was just a bad look. So that's 5, just because of how bad it made us look as fans and the team itself.
So my number 5, I have some honorable mentions too, but I'm going to hit those at the end.
Yeah.
My number 5 is App State beating Michigan I don't remember the year. I didn't take as good notes as you.
I do. I'll get back to that.
All right, so you got it higher. See, I put it at 5 because it's obviously the worst Michigan loss in the history of Michigan sports, or University of Michigan.
Right.
I didn't witness it, though. That's why I didn't put it on there. I just remember that we were at the camper, and you had it on the radio, and you were like, I don't remember exactly, but I just remember, like, you were freaking out.
Yes.
Like, oh, my God, Appalachian State. And this was when they were FCS, and they were just no names. Michigan was what? Number
5.
5?
Yes.
And they lost on a blocked field goal, and that is just bad luck all around. And
it still
you can't lose that game at home too in the big house.
Correct.
Against an FCS team that they paid to come play them, because like that's what you do. You pay them to come play so you look good. And yeah, I just remember you were upset, and I was so young though that I don't remember my reaction. I don't think I was that into it yet, but it had to be on the list.
No, you were pretty young, but it still stung.
All right, you're number 4.
Okay, my number 4 is the 2008 0-16 Detroit Lions. So the reason why, and everybody says, oh, Detroit Lions, blah, blah, blah. Yes, but it still hurts. It still hurts. They lost 10 of the 16 games by 10 or more points. It wasn't even close. They were the first team since the NFL expanded to 16 games to go 0-16. So that's another reason why it stings. We go down in history.
But the Browns got our back.
They do. The Browns got our back.
Appreciate that.
But
Cleveland.
we were the first, so
Yeah.
it still sucks. And then, but however, the silver lining to that 2008 season was Matt Millen was fired during the bye week. That was the only silver lining of that whole season.
Yep. My number 4. I went with the pass interference call that was overturned in the 2015 wild card game against the Cowboys.
That's Cowboys. Yep.
Quick rundown on that. Brandon Pettigrew, pretty wide open. He's got a linebacker on him. And this was the year they instituted the pass interference rule where you had to turn your head. And the linebacker it was a little underthrown. Linebacker got into his face, never turned his head.
Yep.
The refs throw a flag, insinuating pass interference, great, we're good. And by the way, this is the first time we were in the playoffs since, or did we make it in 14?
No.
It was the first time we were in the playoffs for years. So it was
Yes.
exciting. We had a good team, good defense, Stafford. And the refs throw the flag. Dez comes on the field without his helmet on, which is a penalty.
Which is a penalty.
Penalty. And is saying, it's not a penalty, blah, blah, blah. The refs pick up the flag, and the Lions go on to lose the game.
Yes.
Even though there should have been another flag for Dez going on the field without a helmet.
Yes.
I couldn't believe that. That's honestly, like, I was 16, and it's the first, like, Detroit heartbreak that I remember. Like, that one hurt. And that's the first that I literally, like, remember.
Well, and unfortunately, you were 16, so you still had, what, 6, 7 more years of that shit coming?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, they
mean-
just, the cardiac cats, there's a reason they're called that.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
number 3.
All right, so my number 3 is Michigan versus App State. And, yeah, we basically covered that, but if you look at that team, at the time, they had Chad Henne, Mike Hart, Mario Manningham, Jake Long, Brandon Graham, Sean Crable. I mean, they were stacked. And I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. I honestly do not know what Michigan was thinking.
What the hell happened, you know?
I really think that they thought it was just going to be, hey, we're just going to roll over, and we're just going to do what we got to do. We're better than them. But App State was the first FCS team to defeat an FBS team. So
I didn't know that.
they were the first team ever.
There's been a lot recently.
There's been a few.
But also-
again, we were the first. So
And
that hurts.
We still hold the title of the highest ranked team to lose to an FCS.
That is correct.
Because a lot of them now are
Yeah, they're
unranked
like
teams.
21, 22,
Yeah.
or they're unranked.
It was Florida State was like 18 or something, and
Yep.
they lost to Jackson State.
Yep.
What number was that?
That was 3.
My number 3, I've got the 0-16 Lions, 2008.
Oh,
A little bit before my time still, but I have more memories of this one. The biggest memory is that I loved the black uniforms.
oh, they were nice.
And I just remember always saying, like in the years after that, Dad, why don't they use the black uniforms anymore? And I just remember the response every time. Because they sucked that year.
That's
And the
correct.
Lions, like, they never wore them again because how do you wear a uniform you went 0-16 in? Like, that was their home alternate, but they wore it 5 or 6 games,
Yeah,
I think, when I
it was
looked
like
it up.
6 games or something.
And then
but-
I also remember Christmas Eve they were playing, and they lost on a last-second field goal, and it was like, other than like obvious sad things that have happened in your life, that was the saddest I've ever seen you. And it was a major holiday, Christmas Eve. The whole family was over.
Yep.
That sticks with me.
Thank you, Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
You ruined my Christmas.
Appreciate that. Your number 2.
All right, so my number 2 is the Armando Galarraga near perfect game.
Let's do this together because mine is too.
Oh, nice.
I call it the imperfect game.
Oh, the imperfect. Okay. All right. So just a quick rundown.
Fuck
I'm sure-
Jim Joyce.
I'm sure a lot of you guys know what happened, but this is June 2nd, 2010. So Galarraga has a perfect game going into the 9th inning. Perfect. No walks.
No hits.
No hits. I think he had like 4 or 5 strikeouts, something like that, but he had a ton of ground balls. So the first batter up in the 9th hit a long fly ball that Austin Jackson ran down and caught over his shoulder.
Was it Austin Jackson?
It was
or
Austin
Granderson?
Jackson. No, it was
Okay,
Austin
okay,
Jackson.
okay.
I had to look it up because I thought it was Granderson,
too.
but it was
Okay.
Austin Jackson.
All right.
So, the crowd's all into it. They're screaming, they're yelling, everybody's fired up. I'm fired up. The second out was just a ground out to second, no big deal. Then Jason Donald got up and hit a ball that was kind of in between first and second, and Miggy slid to his right and got the ball. He threw it to Galarraga, who Galarraga was covering first base. He beat him to the bag by at least a step, maybe 2.
Yeah, one step easy.
And Jim Joyce, they looked at him and he hesitated. And when he hesitated, I was like, in my head, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then he went safe, and that was, we couldn't believe it.
Just the pain on Miggy's face. Galarraga didn't even look sad. He was smiling like, are you
Yes.
fucking kidding me?
That's
the face that he had.
yes.
And I to this day, I still don't understand how Jim Joyce, in that stadium, it was in Detroit, right?
Called
It was
him
in
safe.
Detroit?
Yeah, it was at
How do you
Detroit.
make that call? That's an out call 100 times out of 100. And then
Yeah.
if you were wrong, oh, man, somebody got a perfect game that maybe doesn't deserve it.
Right.
But the fact that Galarraga is not in history books because of Jim Joyce making a bad call today, never going to happen again because of the review system, which is great. But,
Rightfully so.
and then to Jim Joyce's credit, though, after the game, he said, simple as, I fucked up.
Yeah, I did a little more research on that, and they actually did have a heart-to-heart, and he did admit that he messed up.
In his post-game interview, he said it. There's
Yeah.
a video somewhere. Watch
Yeah.
it today.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, it is what it is. You can't take it back. I
Yep.
mean, he called him safe. That's the end of it. But
Yep.
that was a heartbreaker. That
And
hurt.
One memory I have of this one was, it was a school night. Or no, when did you say it was? June?
Yeah, it was June 10th.
Okay.
June 2nd.
So I remember
June
this
2nd.
because I was like 11, so it's like summer vacation.
Yep.
I don't know. I was going to bed early. Maybe I still had a bedtime then. I don't know how that all
No,
worked out.
it was
But
an earlier game, I think.
I was watching. No, because I remember I was watching in bed. I'm in my underwear. And I put it on. It was like 9th inning. And the announcer said it. I ran downstairs in my underwear. You, of course, already had it on.
Yes.
And I watched it in my underwear with you. And just another, like, we don't deserve this, man. Why do bad things happen to good people? We're good people in Michigan.
Yeah,
you
we're
know?
not bad people.
Yeah. So that was my number 2 as well. So let's go straight to your number 1.
All right. Well, my number 1 is, it's basically heartbreaking, I guess you could say. It was the 97 Vladimir Konstantinov accident.
Oh, yeah.
So, quick rundown. Red Wings just won the Cup. First time in, I don't even remember how long it's been. It was like 50-some years or something. I don't remember what it was. But they won the Cup, and I remember I was, excited, and we were in our first new house, me and the wife, and, we were watching it. It was great, and blah, blah, blah. And then 6 days later, Vladdy and it was Vladdy Fetisov and their masseur were in a golf outing. They were celebrating winning the Cup, and they hired a limo driver to bring them back to their hotel. Well, unbeknownst to anybody else, this limo driver had his license suspended because he was because of drinking and driving. He was a drunk driver, and they caught him. So he had his license suspended. He should not have been driving. So he ended up losing control and wrapping that limo around a tree. And, if you guys know the story, I don't need to go into it because everybody knows. If you watch Red Wing hockey, you know the whole story. So that was tough. And, Konstantinov was a massive, huge piece for that Detroit defense. So that's all I got to say about that.
Yep. There's a good E60 about it, I think. I think it's an E60. And it kind of looks into Konstantinov's life now.
Yep.
Because he didn't die, but he's in a wheelchair the rest of his life. He can't do anything on his own. But check that out if you're interested because it really documents it well. My number one worst was the miracle in Motor City. The Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary on Monday night. So we were kind of talking about this, and we said, worst / most heartbreaking. And this one hurt for me. Luckily, it was before I knew Frankie. So if that happened when I lived with him, I don't know that I'd be okay to this day. I'd probably just be in a dark, depressed state. Kind of like Packers fans right now because the Lions swept them last season. But, Monday Night Football, Detroit Packers, it was a good game. Luckily, I didn't watch it because I had school and I was still a little younger, I think. I still went to bed kind of early. But Rodgers, everybody's seen that play. He throws the Hail Mary. It's caught. I think it was Bostic. I don't remember who. But I had to put that on there because I hate the Packers now. And looking back, this one hurt. Because I went to school and there were some Packers fans at school. And every single Lions fan, they had to go, "Oh, nice game last night, huh, Jake?" Yeah. Well, fuck you, kid.
Fun fact. Previous to that play, we got to Aaron Rodgers, and I forget who it was.
Oh, the face mask call.
We grabbed him by the jersey.
The shoulder.
Yeah, right by the shoulder. Yep. And pulled on him, and they called a face mask penalty. So they gave Aaron Rodgers another shot, and I'm sure the whole...
I think it was Sue, and that's why they called it.
It might have been Sue. I don't remember exactly who it was. I just remember that they showed the replay, and at the time, there was no instant replay. So... Of course, they're like, "Oh, well, that's a penalty. His face moved."
Well, you still can't instant replay a face mask.
I understand that, but it was so ridiculous that they missed that. The ref was right there.
Yep. And
that gave him another 15 yards and gave him that last-second throw. Now, granted, we should have knocked that shit down.
Did you know to this day, Austin cannot admit that wasn't a face mask? I slowed it down, put it in his face, and he's just so much of a scumbag.
That's
he's
ridiculous.
like, "Nope, clear face mask." And I know he's fucking with me. But it's like, you're so much of a scumbag, you can't even take your bias out of it.
I mean, just admit it and move on.
All right, so before we get into the fun stuff, the best Michigan sports moments, my honorable mentions, I put the block punt against MSU. That one sucked. That one sucked a lot, too, because I grew up near East Lansing, so a lot of MSU fans, and I talked a lot of shit right away, and I had to just delete everything, and that was not fun. I also put the loss to TCU on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because when they played Georgia in the semifinal, I didn't really think we had a shot. Like, I was excited, it's going to be fun, but it was Georgia, so I was like, we're not going to put a lot. When I saw we had TCU, I was like, yeah, I want Georgia. I didn't think TCU had a shot.
No.
So that one hurt. Luckily, it was New Year's Eve, so I got to go out and still have a great time, but that one hurt a lot. But I couldn't put it in the list because, there's no, like, bullshit to it. I feel like a lot of mine were bullshit. The pass interference, Galarraga, the miracle in Motor City.
Yeah, there's a lot there. And, we're not saying, oh, yeah, we get all the bad calls, blah, blah, blah. But,
there's a lot more bad ones than good ones.
Exactly. It's basically they have shirts that say Detroit versus everybody, and there's a reason for it. So
I'm telling you, if the Lions ever win the Super Bowl in my lifetime, it'll be the happiest day of my life. Sorry to my future wife and kids, but that will be the happiest day of my life.
I'm sorry for my kids and my grandkids because if the Lions win the Super Bowl, I already told my boss, I'm not coming into work.
Notice how we say if and not when. That's how hurt we are.
True story.
We don't even like, other teams are like, yeah, when we get back, it's going to be so great. No, ours is if. That's so sad.
That is a true story.
All right. Let's do the top 5 best moments. You're number 5.
Okay. So I'm going before you were born. There's a couple in here that before you were born.
I figured because in my lifetime, we haven't had a lot of good.
Right. So I had
figured you were
to
gonna be a little older.
dig deep.
Yeah,
All right. So my number 5 is the 1997 Detroit Lions. Now, hear me out. Barry Sanders. Okay. So
Herman Moore.
I still can't believe I missed
Who was the
that.
quarterback? Because I was going to do him.
There was Eric Kramer.
No,
was
not
back
him.
then.
Who's the other one?
Um,
There's one later 90s I was going to do. I forget his name.
Rodney Peete was there.
No. Maybe it was Kramer. I don't know. I didn't know his name either until I saw a video about it. And I was going to do that, but then I was like, Herman Moore would be fun.
Scott Mitchell was in
That's
there.
what I was going to do, Scott Mitchell.
Okay, he
That's
was
what I
in there
gonna
too.
do.
That's another. That should have been on one of the top 5 worst moments. That guy sucked. Jesus. So the reason I picked the 97 Lions was Barry Sanders rushed for over 2,000 yards that year. Okay, now everybody's like, oh, that's not a big deal.
That is
blah,
a big
blah, blah.
deal.
Here's the thing, though. Barry Sanders did it in, number one, he did it in 16 games. They only played 16 games. Now, fun fact, the first 2 games of that season, Barry Sanders only had 53 yards through the first 2 games.
Wow.
So that means, and I'll do the math for you because no one's going to do the math. He averaged 142 games, or I'm sorry, 142 yards the last 14 games of that season.
That's crazy. I didn't know he had 53 yards the first 2.
53 yards the first
Dang.
2 games. And I'll tell you what, I know you weren't around when Barry Sanders was playing, but man, I dare say he was electric.
Oh,
Right.
dropping the electric.
There you go, Austin.
Papa Tubbs loves to talk shit when me and Austin say electric all the time. That's why we started Charged Up. My number 5, mine are all, I have one that I didn't get to witness because I was so young, but my others are all, I saw them. So
Okay.
my number 5 is the Jordan Poole buzzer beater in the 2018 tournament against
Ooh.
Houston.
Nice one.
This one I had, like, it's obviously, it wasn't a huge game, but anytime you have a buzzer beater in March Madness, it's electric. And it was like one of my favorite nights in college because I went over to a buddy's. We had it on the TV. We were playing beer pong. I got real drunk, having a good time. And then the cable went out in the living room. So we had to go to his room and we watched the buzzer beater on his little like 18-inch TV that he had. There's like 15, 16 of us crowded around.
18-inch?
It was small.
Wow.
Like smaller than this monitor.
Oh, boy.
It was tiny, but we all crowded around. A lot of Michigan fans there. And then that night I proceeded to just get really drunk celebrating. And they made a little bit of a run that tournament.
They did.
So that's my number 5. What do you got at 4?
All right. So, again, I'm digging back a little bit. The 1989 Michigan basketball champions. So, Michigan,
Champions.
yes, they won the NCAA tournament.
Is this Fab 5?
No, this is pre-Fab 5. This is 1989, dude.
Okay. I'm not
This
familiar.
is way back, all right? So, quick story. So, I was out with some friends that night before the game, and we're out having a few beers, doing what
You
we
drank
gotta do.
underage? Shh.
Quiet. Don't tell anybody.
Papa Tubbs was 17 years old at this time.
So we went out, and I was like, hey, listen, that game's starting. I got to go. I got to go home. So I watched that game. I watched, actually, all those games, but obviously you're going to watch if you're in the finals, you want to see that game. Michigan beat Seton Hall in that game 80-79 in overtime.
Wow.
So some of you older folks out there would know some of these guys. You had Ramel Robinson, Lloyd Volt, Terry Mills, Sean Higgins. That team was amazing.
Glenn
But
Rice.
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that.
I Googled it so I could follow along.
Right. So, okay. So
I know his son.
I'll throw that
His
out
son
there.
is my time,
Nice. Oh, right.
I think. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Glenn Rice in the tournament, the whole tournament, averaged 30.9 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's unheard of. I mean, that's
For
throughout
college
the whole
basketball,
tournament.
absolutely.
The whole tournament, 30.9 points, right? So both of them were 3 seeds going into the tournament. Michigan, they were up and down. They had a couple of, hard losses. But when they got the tournament, they beat a number 5 North Carolina, a number 3 Illinois. That's big because Illinois was really good back then.
That was in the Final Four, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the scores of the games, they were close. I mean, they won by minus Virginia, right? Because they did play Virginia in, I think, the Sweet 16, and they beat them 102-65. But all the other games were 5 points or under. So that's why it was so much fun to watch.
My heart wouldn't be able to take that. That's what you got.
I was 17.
16, 8, 4. That's 6 games.
Correct.
Or 5 games all settled by 5 points. I couldn't handle that.
Correct.
All within like 2-3 weeks.
Yes, but I was 17. I couldn't handle it now.
That's a good one. I honestly, maybe I'm a terrible fan. I didn't know they even won a national championship in basketball.
Yep.
I know that the Fab Five was close.
Twice.
Which it would have been taken away nowadays.
That's one of my heartbreakers, by the way.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That Chris Webber timeout.
Number 4, I put Michigan owning Ohio State from 2021 to now. Just these last 2 games have been the most happy times. These last 2 years of Michigan football have been great. Obviously, outside of TCU loss.
Yep.
But we have been so dominant. And after all the years of Ohio State, like when I got into football, like really watching with you on Saturdays and Sundays, Ohio State has dominated.
Correct.
I think we had 1 win in my years of watching since like 2011 or something.
Yep.
And so to be able to go, we won at home last year, no problem. That game was fun. Then you come to this year, we go to Ohio State and dominate them. Like, these games aren't even close.
Right, and fun fact, you got a bunch of people out there that picked Ohio State. All the sportscasters, everybody.
Everybody's picking against Michigan. And we've been like 8.5-point dogs both games.
Yep.
And we win outright.
Yep.
And you know what's funny is that I haven't taken them on the money line because I say I only want my heart broken. I only want my heart broken once. I don't want to lose money and lose the game.
Sure.
I said
Makes
my
sense.
heart is a big enough bet. What was my other point? Shit. Oh, we missed one on the heartbreak, and we should have put the Michigan-Ohio State game where they went to overtime and JT Barrett was short.
Yes.
That should have been on mine for sure.
Yeah.
Remember that one, though? We were driving to
that.
Thanksgiving. We always have Thanksgiving on my mom's side of the family when Michigan plays Ohio State. So me and my dad, now we get out of it we watched it before. But this year we had to drive there early, and we got lost because we were listening to the game, not paying attention.
Yeah.
It took us like an hour and a half for a 35-minute drive or some shit. So that's funny.
Yeah, that's kind of.
But yeah, like Ohio State's father is Michigan right now, and it's going to stay that way for a while, and I'm very happy about it.
Yes, I agree with that.
You're number 3.
All right, again, I'm going back even further. The 1984 Detroit Tigers, world champions.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It was amazing. I'm talking, what was I, 72? I was 12 years old, and I was really into baseball, right? I mean, I was heavy into baseball. So that season, the Tigers started out 7-0, and they won their first 7 games by, I think, an average of like 6 runs or something like that. I don't exactly remember, but they were on fire. So on that team, you had Jack Morris, Kirk Gibson, Lance Parrish, Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker, Willie Hernandez, Senior Smoke. Amazing pitcher. Pitcher. Yeah, Senior. Yeah. So the Tigers, I'll just give you a quick rundown. The Tigers were up 3-1. They were up 3 games to 1. Going into Game 5, Alan Trammell, they're in the 8th inning. Alan Trammell was up with runners on first and second. Now, Alan Trammell homered in that game. Sparky Anderson told Alan Trammell to bunt. So he bunted the runners up to second and third. So the Tigers have 1 out. The Padres pitcher, Goose Gossage, wanted to pitch to Kirk Gibson. So Dick Williams, who was the manager of the Padres, came out because he wanted him to walk him. So he came out and they talked about it. Now, Goose Gossage owned Kirk Gibson the previous 2 times he faced him. So they were talking about it, and somehow or another, Goose Gossage got Williams to agree with him to pitch to Kirk Gibson. Now, in the meantime, you guys can look this up on YouTube. Sparky Anderson's in the dugout talking to Kirk Gibson. He's like, he doesn't want to walk you. He's putting up 4 fingers. He doesn't want to walk you. So Kirk Gibson gets up. Very first pitch, Kirk Gibson crushes it to right field. And I mean, it was the old Tiger Stadium. So if you guys can imagine, it was like one of those ones like Babe Ruth. You know what I mean? I mean, he just absolutely crushed this ball. And hit 3-run shot, right? And Sparky Anderson, I thought he was going to stroke out in the dugout because he was, I think he was chewing on sunflower seeds, and he's spitting them out, throwing them out everywhere. And he's like, "Yeah, don't walk him.
That clip's awesome.
That was it.
That's
After
on YouTube.
that, yeah, you definitely have to check that out. But that was amazing, and the Tigers ended up winning that game and won the World Series.
My number 3. This is the one that I didn't get to see, but I've seen clips of it, and it's awesome. 2006 ALCS Tigers Athletics. It was Game 4.
That was my honorable mention.
Was it?
Yes.
Game 4. Maglio. I can't believe you didn't put that on your list.
I know.
Maglio Ordonez hits a 3-run bomb to send the Tigers to the World Series. You don't see that a lot. You don't see a walk-off homer to send somebody, like even in the ALDS anymore, really.
And who was the pitcher?
I don't know. Do you know?
I want to say it was
Fernando Rodney?
No. Might as well be. It's not Hunter. You have to give me a minute. I have to think about it.
Oh shit! I know this too.
He was a
Something
amazing
Hudson.
closer. Yeah,
Something Hudson. God, I wish Austin was here. He'd know right
I know
away.
It was Hudson.
Something Hudson.
Yeah.
One of the best closers of all time.
Yeah.
I feel like we're terrible people for not knowing this.
We are.
Shows how much
But
we
yeah,
watch baseball.
Yeah, but he's not a Tiger, so
not a
whatever.
Tiger. Don't give a shit about him.
Yeah.
Orlando Hudson? Hudson Street? Hudson Street.
Hudson Street. There you
Boom!
go.
I'm so good.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, so I've never seen it. I can't talk much about it, but the series was 3-0, so in pretty safe hands. But to hit a walk-off in Comerica, obviously walk-off,
Right.
to set him to the World Series, just him rounding those bases, the party. They ended up losing the World Series, but just a sweet video to check out.
Yeah, and he absolutely crushed that ball too.
It was mashed.
I mean, there was a no doubter.
Yep. Your number 2.
All right, so my number 2 is, and you already hit on this, 2021 Michigan versus Ohio State. Now, there's a reason for this, right? So, Ohio State, previous to that game in 2021, they won the previous 8 games. So, they owned us. I hate to say it, but they did. They owned us. So, if you look at it, that was the longest between these two teams, because they've been playing since, I believe, 1901 or 1900, something like that. That was the longest winning streak against Michigan since Michigan won 9 from Ohio State between 1901 and 1909. All right, so that was bad. That team had Hassan Haskins, Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, Daxon Hill. I mean, we were really, really good.
Blake Corum?
But Blake Corum at the time wasn't.
Oh, he was kind of backing him up,
wasn't
backing
up Haskins.
Yeah. That's
right?
true. That's true.
So in that game, Michigan was down 14-13 at halftime, but they had to be fired up because, I mean, they were in the game. Everything was going kind of their way. After when they got to the second half, Michigan outscored OSU 28-14 in the second half. Michigan had 256 yards rushing. Haskins, 169 of those rushing yards.
Well, and he had a couple, he had a sweet hurdle.
He had a sweet hurdle. He had 5 touchdown runs. 5. Oh, and by the way, Hutchinson had 3 sacks in that game.
Well, and it was fun, too, because I was living with a buddy. You came over with my brother, and it was different because we got to be loud because my roommate wasn't there. And we got to be loud and stupid, which we can't do. We couldn't do this previous year, which we kind of did.
We did a little.
But, living at home, my parents, mom doesn't want us to be loud, so we kind of had to take it easy. But last year, in 2021, we got crazy.
We got
so loud.
Yeah, we got stupid.
Yeah, so Michigan football's in a great spot right now. At least we got something,
Agreed.
The Wings have been okay. The Lions, though. I love the Lions right now.
Agreed.
So my number 2... I've got the Matthew Stafford game-winning drive against the Cowboys. It was in the regular season. I didn't write down the year. But he went 80 yards in under a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended it off with a fake spike 1-yard rush. Remember that video?
I do remember that.
He's yelling spike. Kelvin Johnson got tackled on the 1. He's yelling, clock it, clock it. There's 10 seconds left. And the whole team thought he was going to clock it.
Mm-hmm.
But Stafford said nope. He went over the top. They didn't signal touchdown, so he runs around the edge and
scores.
Oh my God! He throws the ball, and the team's celebrating. That was a year too. We were decent. I think we were fighting for a playoff spot at that point.
Yep.
And it was just insane because Dallas had scored to go up 30-24.
Yeah.
So they scored.
Yeah, because they were up
Lions
6
ended up
at
winning
the
it.
end there, yeah.
Yep. So that one was. I just love the behind the scenes of Stafford. Just clock it, clock it. His voice is cracking.
Yeah.
You're number one. Best Michigan sports moment.
It's not even a playoff. Not even a playoff. But my number one is the 1997 Detroit Red Wings versus Colorado Avalanche. So, in case people don't know what I'm talking about, it was nicknamed Bloody Wednesday. Okay? That was the game where Darren McCarty showed Claude Lemieux he's his bitch. So basically what had happened previous in 96, the Red Wings, Colorado, obviously they went on to win the cup in 96. But what had happened was Lemieux took a cheap shot to Chris Draper and fucked up his face. I mean, he broke his orbital bone. He
had
broke
like
his
30
jaw.
broken bones in his face.
He messed him up.
Dirty hit.
It was not even close to being a clean hit. And what made it worse was after the game, they talked to Claude Lemieux. They interviewed him. He didn't apologize. He didn't say anything.
Hope he's doing
about
okay.
it.
Nothing.
He said nothing.
And it made it worse that the Wings lost the game, got knocked out of the playoffs, and all those guys had to shake Claude's hand.
Yes, and Darren McCarty had said previous, he's like, I cannot believe I shook their hands.
You're wrong.
Was it?
It wasn't McCarty.
No, it wasn't McCarty.
I forget his name. But I've seen that clip 100 times.
I can't. No, you're right. It wasn't McCarty because it was somebody
I'll look
else.
It up.
Yeah, someone else said that.
Get to the fights.
So
I'll look it up.
Okay, so they've played 3 games after this, right? This is March 26th. I believe it was the last game that they were going to play against each other, and it was in Detroit.
Dino
Cicerelli.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. So let me back up. After that, they interviewed Darren McCarty, and Darren McCarty said, hockey players have long memories, and that's all he said. So fast forward to the next year, last game in Joe Louis Arena. There were scraps throughout the first period, right? There was little, shoving and punching, and, there were some penalties here and there and blah, blah, blah. Then it got to the big one. So it all started with a little scrap with Larry Onoff, and I'm not even going to say it. I call him Foreskin. It's Forsberg, but I call him Foreskin. It all started over there. They were kind of scruffing around, and Larry Onoff, by the way, does not fight. He was one of the Russian 5. He never fought.
Skill player.
Yeah, and Foreskin just kept screwing around. So Larry Onoff took offense and started throwing some punches. Well, McCarty and Lemieux were both on the ice, and Lemieux was kind of like skating up towards the fight, and that's when McCarty just opened up. He turned on him and hit him with a massive punch in the face.
Honestly, let me finish before you freak out, but it was a dirty punch, but he deserved it.
Oh, we saw it coming.
Barely.
That's all. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't know what you're talking about.
But no, it was good.
He saw it coming.
I'm just saying.
No, fuck that. He saw that shit coming all the way. All of a sudden, he turtled. Lemieux just turtled, and McCarty just started blasting him. Well, then on the side, all of a sudden you see Patrick. I know it's Roy, but I say Roy because it's ROY. So don't pull that Canadian shit on me. So he starts skating up, and all of a sudden you see Brendan Shanahan coming out of nowhere and taking him out. Took Roy out, right? Well, then Adam Foote came in and started fighting Shanahan, and they're going at it. All of a sudden, you see Roy. No, well, not yet, because Roy started fighting with somebody. I think he got in with the Shanahan and Foote fight. So then Vernon come skating up, and the goalies are going at it. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you see these masks going, and they got the pillows on, and it didn't matter. It did not matter. They started going at it, and Vernon clocked Roy. He clocked him
good.
Hard.
Yep.
It was like in the upper. I think it was in the upper right. It might have been, I don't remember, but it was in the forehead, and he was bleeding. Now, in the meantime, as this is going on, McCarty is still beating the shit out of Lemieux. And I mean, he is crushing him. He is hitting him with He even kneed him a few times. I mean, it was ugly, right? So they finally clean up the ice and they do all that stuff. And I just remember the referee was over in the corner cleaning the ice with his skate, and it was all blood, and he was just like shooting it.
It looked like a Slurpee.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was gross, but it was the coolest thing ever. And fun fact, the Red Wings actually won that game 6-5 in overtime. You want to guess who scored that winning goal?
I know who did.
Darren McCarty.
I also love, like, one of my favorite things about it is that if you look at the Red Wings versus the Avalanche, the Red Wings players were not bloody. Like, the Wings won that fight. There might have been a couple guys that got bloody, but nothing like Lemieux was messed up, Wow was messed up. And then my other favorite part is when McCarty's in the box and he's just grabbing his boys, saying, "Good job,
yes.
Good job."
Yes.
And
yep, maybe some bloody knuckles.
You need to, if you're listening and you actually care about this, look up Fight Night at the Joe. If you've not seen it, it's on YouTube. It's HD. You can see it's like 16 minutes, and it goes out the whole night. I mean, it was like the second most penalty minutes ever, or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's something you got to see. So I was gonna put that at number one, but I decided that I didn't see it. I didn't get to live it.
Understood.
So I went with just ending Aaron Rodgers' career on Sunday Night Football and keeping the Packers out of the playoffs with nothing to play for. This was just recently, if you didn't remember. Rodgers, it hurt him so bad he had to go into a darkness retreat to find himself, the little pussy. So, we swept him on the year. We looked great. It's gonna be looked at as the point where the Wings turned it around, or the Lions turned it around. And it also helps that Frankie's the biggest Packers fan ever, whatever, and I got to rub it in his mouth. So, quick on that one, because we obviously recapped it a few weeks ago. Well, a couple months ago at this point, actually. I don't really have any honorable mentions. Do you?
No.
Okay.
No, I have a couple, but we don't need to do all that.
Yep. So, for the sports movies, I want to talk about it, but let's not get too crazy because we're already pretty long. So,
yeah, real quick.
Our other top 5 was sports movies. I just want to hit them quick because I know my dad's going to talk shit, but I actually haven't seen a lot of sports movies, I realized. I got some ones I need to watch. Some of the classics.
Okay.
So you're number 5.
All right. So my number 5, and they're 4 movies, but I wrap them into one. Rocky 1 through 4.
There you go. Okay.
Specifically 3 and 4 with Mr. T and the Russian. Those are amazing games. Or amazing movies.
My number 5.
Yes.
I wanted to mix it up, throw some comedy in there. Happy Gilmore.
Oh,
I love that movie. It's hilarious.
Yep.
Golf, it counts.
Yep.
Your number 4.
My number 4 is White Men Can't Jump.
Never seen it, but looks awesome.
It was a great movie. Wesley Snipes,
it's way up there.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson. It was a great movie.
Yep.
Good movie.
They're remaking that. Did you see that?
What? You can't remake that
Woody
movie.
Harrelson's directing.
Oh,
It's got.
I'll give it a shot.
It's gonna have Jack Harlow though, who's a rapper. I know you don't know him.
No, I don't.
But it's gonna be like he's not an actor, unless what I saw was fake. It might have been fake, honestly. But I'm gonna keep an eye out.
Okay.
My number 4, I put Rocky. I have seen it. The first one, I think.
The first one.
I mean, I've seen like clips of all of them because you're always watching them every so often.
Yeah.
But I've only seen the first one in full. But great movie.
Yes.
You're number 3.
Number 3, Remember the Titans.
Oh my God, I forgot that.
Great movie. Anytime that's on, I just put it on. If I see it on TV, I'm gonna watch it.
It is one of those where you just have to watch.
Well, and it's based on a true story.
Clear
I mean, it's
schedule.
loosely based on a true story, but it's a great movie.
My number 3, I want The Blind Side, strictly because of how many times I've watched it. Like, I love it. Great story.
Based on a true story.
Based closely on a true story from what I've heard. There's a couple that are out there,
but it doesn't matter.
I had to put it on there just because I've seen it so many times. You're number 2.
Number 2, The Sandlot. And if you guys watch baseball, you got to watch The Sandlot.
I missed a couple.
My brother-in-law has never seen this freaking movie, and it's ridiculous. I can't believe I'm trying to get him to watch it. It's just a great baseball movie, and they have a cameo with James Earl Jones on there, and it's just a great baseball movie.
My number 2, I put Moneyball. I love Moneyball. I love Brad Pitt. He's great in it. Jonah Hill was great. Just an all-around awesome movie.
Again, based on a true story.
Yep, heartwarmer. That one's really close to the true story too.
Right.
But just you get some comedy. You just get a little bit of everything. So I put that at 2, and I've watched another one that I've watched so many times.
Right.
Your number one greatest sports movie of all time.
Number one, I'm going to tell you this because I went and actually saw it at the movie theater with my wife, and I've watched it. I own the DVD. I've watched this movie.
Do we have the same?
We might.
What is it?
Friday Night Lights.
Me too.
Friday Night
Lights, number one.
Dude, I'm telling you, such a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
You right? So,
what's better, the movie or the TV show?
Well, I like the TV show.
What's better, the movie or the TV show?
The movie. I
Yep,
mean, just
agreed.
because it's so, they get so into it. You know what I mean? And Billy Bob Thornton's in it, and my wife loves Tim McGraw. She told me she'd divorce me if he ever came around, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he played a dickhead. He was a dick in that movie for like 3/4 of the movie. But the again, based on a true story, but it was such a great movie. It was so, I don't know, it's just the way the way they tell the story.
I think it's got one of the best endings in movie history. I'm not going to ruin it because there might be some of you that need to go watch it. I don't know if Austin has seen Friday Night Lights, honestly.
That's a shame. That's just a crying shame.
So I'm going to ask him. But, the ending is just spectacular. And the way they wrapped it up, too. And then the TV show is also great. Fell off at the end, but that's how it goes with most TV shows.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the movie's better.
Agreed.
So that's our top fives. We're going to go ahead and hit some roulette here. I don't have a do not bet list. I didn't bet last week. Buying a house, so saving money. I wanted to do like a split screen here so I can remember my outro. Uh-oh, did I close it? All right, so we're going to do 5 numbers.
5 numbers?
Yep, $2 a pop. And I'm going to let you choose 3 of them since you're the guest.
Awesome.
Sorry, folks. Got to log in. Do you have anything on your do not bet list? Did you do any betting last week?
No. Now that football's over, I'll save it for March Madness. I'm sure I'll be dropping some money in there. But
I think March Madness, I'm going to hit a couple. And then when we go to the Sioux, I'll definitely be doing some sports betting up there.
I mean, without football, I'm kind of lost.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks.
Well, and college basketball's tough right now, especially. Anybody's beating anybody. You had Florida State won last week at plus 800 money line.
That's true.
I do want to do a quick shout out while this is loading. Frankie hit a plus 4,000 bet last week, $10 for 400, whatever that works out to.
Oh, that's right.
He got the winner of the golf, so that was a big hit.
Nice.
I'm sure he'll talk about it next week. All right, get ready. We're gonna do $2, 5 numbers. What 3 do you want?
I want 11.
Okay.
I want 31. And I want 20.
20. Weird. We've never had a 20. I don't think we've done 31 or 11. I took my go-tos 3 and 9. I just want give us a lightning number so we can get a little excited here. How about 4? How about 4 of them? 3. I'll take 3. What do we got? 9. That's my number. 33, 36.
Damn.
Show me 9 at 200x. That'd be that'd be $400. How sweet would that be?
It'd be
hit 9. I missed it.
No.
30.
Oh, it's just by 11.
30. I didn't realize it was close to 11. All right.
Damn.
All right. Nothing there. Your bad luck. That's all right. Happens to the best.
Well,
of them.
you haven't hit in a few weeks, by the way.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
I do listen.
I think Papa Tubbs is one of our most frequent listeners. I don't know if he's missed an episode since I shit talked you for not listening.
I missed 1 episode.
Okay.
1 episode.
Well, hey, thanks for coming on. This was fun.
I appreciate
hope it turns out. I'm gonna go ahead and hopefully I figure out how to upload this because Austin usually handles the editing and uploading. I'm not gonna do any editing. I'm gonna just hope that it worked out. But hey, have a great week. Hit some tanks, door some tutties. Frankie's back next week. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a review. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want changed. And we'll see you next week when Frankie's out of his darkness retreat. See ya.
Peace.